Welcome to our AP World History Digital LEQ video. Let's get started.
At the end of every unit, your teacher has the chance to teach a lesson about other lessons and their context to its next. But what do you suppose our teacher has us do? He skips the lesson and makes us present a digital LEQ.
Let's go. Elocution needs historical evidence, reasoning that can corroborate in advance. A complex thesis that Dr. John P. Irish would admire. Then we drop the screencast like a single that is fire. Student created screencast for you to like, subscribe, and share. We know you've had all the John Green and Steve Harvey you can bear. If we had the most views by 10 p.m. Eastern on the 5th day, we've earned 500 bonus points, which virtually guarantees A guys. What?
Without much more fanfare or ado, we present
our digital LEQ. Alright guys, so hopping right into this video is talking about the social hierarchy of the Russian Empire. And to get started, we'll start with the background of the Russian Empire. So the expansion of Russia started out as this little lavender piece of land right here. And basically it was Muscovites' territory, but that was under the Mongol rule. And so to get out from under the Mongol rule, the Muscovites had to tax their people higher in order to earn their own wealth and income to overpower the Mongols and to basically kick them out. So that's the start of the expansion of the Russian Empire and how it grew to be. Now we'll start with some big ideas that we'll get from this video. So the first big idea is, what is social hierarchy of the Russian Empire? The second one, how did Alexander II impact the Russian Empire? The third, why was Peter the Great such an important figure in the Russian Empire? Now feel free to stop and pause the video when you find these answers along the way. Jot them down if you're studying for anything. And please just remember them because we'll revisit them at the end of this video. So to start off, we'll start with our thesis statement, which states, between the time period 1450 to 1750, some historians believe that the Russian Empire constituted only basic changes to better the society. However, extensive changes such as administrative reforms and proclamations transformed the society. Therefore, even though the empire held several continuities throughout the years 1450 to 1750, changes allowed the society to expand. Now, starting off, we'll start with our social hierarchy. As you can see, this is basically the Russian wedding cake. And so it's held up by the working class, which mainly consists of serfs and urban workers, while the higher class include military, officials, priests, and the nobility. So this is basically a visual propaganda that shows how the social groups work.
Throughout the Russian Empire, there were 4 different classes. At the top were the royalty, followed by the nobles, peasants, and lastly, the serfs. Each class had their own individual role. Royalty lived in comfort and exerted their force on the rest of the empire. Nobles provided assistance to the royalty. Peasants owned land but could not make decisions of their own. And serfs were the slaves of the empire and were seen as property. For hundreds of years, Russians lived in a feudal society. At the bottom of this society were people known as serfs. These serfs possessed no legal status or rights. The 1649 Code of Law made serfs property of the estates, meaning that they were slaves. Their owners could do whatever they wanted to do with them, including selling them or even beating them for disobedience. On March 3, 1861, the Emancipation Manifesto was issued by the Russian Emperor Alexander II. Defeat in the Crimean War and peasant revolts led to this creation. According to the act, serfs were immediately granted personal liberties and promised land. By 1881, about 85% of the peasants had received their land. In a quote made by Alexander II, Alexander expressed his feelings towards America. In the quote, he stated, "I am at a loss to understand how you Americans could have been so blind as to leave the Negro slave without tools to work out his salvation." This quote meant that Alexander believed that America was ignorant because they did not supply the slaves the tools that they needed to better the country as a whole, like he did. The intention of the Emancipation was to cure Russia's social weakness. However, due to massive redemption payments, peasants remained poor and land hungry. Even though the government terminated these payments in 1905, the peasant loyalty that the Emancipation was intended to create could no longer be achieved.
Peter the Great was a Russian Caesar in the late 17th century, best known for his extensive reforms in an attempt to establish Russia as a great nation. One of his most prominent goals was to reduce the influence of the boyars. Pugachev's rebellion. As the Russian monarchy contributed to the humiliation of the serfs, peasant anger ran high. This hatred intensified throughout the 18th century with more than 50 peasant revolts between 1762 and 1769. Continuities. The boyars possessed an abundant amount of wealth and privilege, and the serfs remained poor and mistreated. The social system of feudalism was continued within the society for many years.
Once you know the history of the Russian Empire's social hierarchy, you can see two major themes. One theme will be social interaction. It will be social interaction because the people of a class will be allowed to interact with the people of the same class. Another theme will be government because the government made many different administrative policies for the people of the society. Different leaders who came to power in the Russian Empire changed its policies and ways. By granting serfs a freedom of movement, kings completely disturbed the ways of the upper classes, considering they were previously thriving on the labor of these serfs. Even though the governance of the Russian Empire, boyars, and feudalism displayed a continuity, major changes developed as the Russian Empire developed through 1450 through 1750.
Our first source is a video that provides information about the Russian Empire and how it provides significant continuity and a significant change in social hierarchies. People such as Ivan IV were mentioned and how they played a major role in how Russia was shaped today. The second source is a Prezi displaying basic information about royalty, merchants, artisans, and landless farmers. People such as Nicholas II was also mentioned. The third source is providing information about the Romanov family and how they were assassinated in 1918. The Romanov family had ruled for so long in such a long time period. The fourth source is a source about the Russian Empire and how it thrived and later fell, how it lasted 400 years, and of course it wasn't all that great.